If you eat at Tim Hortons, Boston Pizza, Swiss Chalet, or other big chain restaurants in Canada, you might want to start paying closer attention to what Health Canada and provincial health inspectors are finding. Now, before anyone panics, this is not a claim that every single location of these restaurants is unsafe. Large chains operate hundreds of franchise locations. Some are run well, some are not. We did a deep dive investigation into some of the most popular Canadian restaurants. What we're looking at today are documented inspection reports, publicly reported incidents, recurring complaints, and patterns that should at least make you pause before you order. Because here's the thing, when you eat out, you are trusting strangers with your health. You cannot see the kitchen, you do not know how long that food sat in the temperature danger zone between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. You do not know if that walk-in cooler broke last week. You are trusting the brand. So today we're talking about 7 Canadian restaurant chains that have had enough red flags, inspection failures, or recurring quality issues that you may want to think twice before going. These include multiple brands owned by Recipe Unlimited Corporation, formerly Cara Operations, as well as Restaurant Brands International Properties. Let's start with the most Canadian brand of all, one that has become a controversial topic for many, Tim Hortons. I'll be honest, it feels almost wrong to question Tim Hortons. For a lot of us Canadians, it's been a part of daily life for decades. Road trips, hockey practices, early morning commutes. Canadians used to love their Timmies. But the reality behind the counter is not always the cozy small-town bakery image. First, the always fresh promise changed years ago. In 2003, Tim Hortons shifted away from baking most items from scratch in store. Many baked goods are produced in centralized facilities, then shipped frozen to locations where they are reheated and finished. That is not unusual in chain restaurants, but it is very different from what many customers still imagine. There have also been multiple public health closures over the years at individual locations across Canada for issues like rodent activity, improper food storage, and sanitation concerns. These closures are documented by local health units in Ontario, British Columbia, Quebec, and other provinces. Most chains experience occasional closures. The concern comes when similar issues appear repeatedly across provinces. I personally stopped going as often after noticing how inconsistent the coffee became. Sometimes it would be good, sometimes it tasted burnt. I also would only get the correct order about 25% of the time. My go-to was a medium coffee with cream. Simple enough, but I'd end up with black coffee, double-double, you name it. Around 2014, after the merger under Restaurant Brands International, many longtime customers complained that the coffee tasted different. Some former franchisees publicly stated the blend supplier changed. Tim Hortons has not framed it that way, but blind taste tests done by media outlets at the time showed a noticeable difference. Then there is the recurring complaint from former employees online about food holding times. Allegations have circulated for years that soups or chili may sit longer than recommended during slow periods, potentially violating HACCP protocols. We cannot verify individual claims, and corporate policy states strict food safety standards must be followed. But when multiple workers across provinces describe similar practices, it at least raises questions about enforcement at the store level. Again, this does not mean every Tim Hortons is unsafe, but it may mean that the brand nostalgia does not always match the operational reality. Number 2, Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza markets itself as the ultimate Canadian family sports restaurant. Over 380 locations, pizza, pasta, wings, big screens. But there have been documented inspection failures in multiple provinces in recent years, including temporary closures related to mold in ice machines, improper food temperatures, and sanitation violations. Ice machines are something most diners never think about, especially when at home in Canada. Yet, health inspectors across Canada routinely cite restaurants for mold buildup inside them. When that happens, it affects every drink served with ice. Former kitchen staff from various locations have described intense pressure during busy nights, especially during playoff seasons. When a kitchen is overwhelmed, shortcuts happen. That is not unique to Boston Pizza. It is a broader industry problem. But undercooked pizza dough or improperly heated chicken toppings are not just quality issues. They can become safety issues if internal temperatures are not reached. Another thing many customers do not realize is how much of the menu arrives pre-prepared. Pasta is often pre-cooked and reheated. Sauces may arrive in large sealed bags from suppliers. Again, this is common in chains. It does not automatically mean unsafe, but it does challenge the made fresh perception. I remember ordering pasta at a location in Ontario a few years ago and being surprised at how quickly it arrived. Too quickly, within 5 minutes. That tells you most of the work was done before you ordered. Was it microwaved? I don't know. The bigger question becomes, are holding temperatures monitored carefully enough at every single location? Inspection reports suggest that sometimes the answer is no. That being said, the cactus cut potatoes will always slap, and I might be willing to turn a blind eye to some things. Then we have Swiss Chalet. Swiss Chalet has been around since 1954. For many families, it's comfort food. This chain, along with several others we'll discuss, is owned by Recipe Unlimited Corporation. But rotisserie chicken carries real food safety risk if not handled properly. Chicken must be kept above 60 degrees Celsius if hot held, or below 4 degrees Celsius if refrigerated. The danger zone in between allows bacteria like Salmonella, Campylobacter, and Listeria monocytogenes to multiply rapidly. There have been documented outbreaks at individual locations over the years where public health units traced gastrointestinal illness back to improperly stored chicken. These investigations are publicly reported by regional health authorities. Former staff in online forums have described ovens breaking down, chicken sitting during slow periods, or being reheated. We cannot independently confirm each account, and corporate policy requires strict temperature logs and HACCP compliance. But when outbreaks happen, they typically point to breakdowns in monitoring. There's also the famous Chalet sauce. Many customers assume it is made fresh in-house. In reality, like most chains, it's centrally produced and shipped. That's not inherently bad. It simply means the brand image of an old-fashioned kitchen is somewhat curated. I will say this, if you ever cut into rotisserie chicken anywhere and it looks pink and rubbery near the bone or feels lukewarm instead of hot, send it back immediately. That's not being picky, it's just about basic food safety. If you've ever had food poisoning, you know, not worth the risk. Number 4. Eastside Mario's Unlimited Soup and Salad sounds fun, but this style of service comes with higher contamination risk. Eastside Mario's is another Recipe Unlimited Corporation brand. There have been well-publicized inspection cases in Canada where individual Eastside Mario's locations faced pest infestations or sanitation violations, including cockroach-related closures that were reported by local media in Ontario and other provinces. Former employees online have claimed that soup sometimes remains in warmers longer than ideal during slow shifts. Official guidelines generally recommend limited hot holding times before disposal. Corporate policy states standards are followed, but again, enforcement at the location level matters. One former worker described lettuce being refreshed in ice water to appear crisp. Kelsey's positions itself as a casual grill with burgers, steaks, and wings. Like Eastside Mario's, it's part of the Recipe Unlimited Corporation family. In recent years, there have been media reports about individual locations being fined or temporarily closed for issues ranging from sewage backups to improper food storage. Those are documented through municipal inspection records. A sewage backup in any restaurant kitchen is serious. It requires immediate closure and full sanitation. In at least one reported case in Ontario, a location was fined after continuing limited operations before inspection. Walk-in cooler failures are another recurring issue across the industry. If a cooler rises above safe temperatures and food is not discarded, that becomes a serious hazard. Former employees online have alleged practices like mixing older ground beef with fresh product. Ground beef is already higher risk because bacteria are mixed throughout the meat. If you ever order a burger anywhere and it tastes sour or has an odd texture, don't second guess yourself. Trust your instincts. Then we have Montana's. Montana's sells a smokehouse image: big ribs, brisket, and pulled pork. This is yet another Recipe Unlimited Corporation brand, but multiple inspection reports at various locations over the years have cited rodent activity, improper storage, and sanitation concerns. In at least one British Columbia case, a location was fined after inspectors documented extensive evidence of mice. BBQ restaurants face specific risks because large volumes of meat are often prepared in batches. If temperature logs are not carefully maintained, meat can sit too long before service. Lastly, and somewhat surprisingly, Milestones. Milestones markets itself as upscale casual dining. This completes our Recipe Unlimited Corporation portfolio. 5 of today's 7 chains are owned by this single company. Interesting. Over the past several years, there have been clusters of online reports from diners claiming gastrointestinal illness after eating seafood at certain locations. We cannot verify every online review, and not every illness report results in a confirmed outbreak. But seafood carries higher risk if not kept properly chilled. Shellfish in particular must be stored at strict temperatures. Once it smells strongly of ammonia, that is typically a spoilage indicator. There have also been discussions among former employees about mechanically tenderized steaks. Food safety authorities note that mechanically tenderized beef should generally be cooked to higher internal temperatures because surface bacteria can be pushed inside during the tenderizing process. If you prefer rare steak, it may be worth asking whether the cut is mechanically tenderized. Not all restaurants disclose this clearly. Milestones is more expensive than the others on this list. When you are paying premium prices, you expect premium oversight. So where does this leave us? The key takeaway is this: do not rely solely on brand trust. Check your local health inspection database. Most provinces publish results online. If a location has repeated critical violations, consider that a red flag. Eating out should be enjoyable, but blind trust in a logo is not a food safety strategy. Now, I want to know from you. Have you ever checked a restaurant's inspection record before dining? Have you ever gotten sick after eating at a major chain in Canada? Share your experience below. And if you want more Canadian consumer investigations like this, make sure you subscribe.